Jordan, thank you for joining me, man.
Pleasure to be here.
I've been admiring you from afar for a while, so it's good to finally sit down. We're 20 minutes away, aren't we?
Yeah.
20, 30 minutes away?
Yeah, 30 minutes I think it took us to get here. Yeah.
I remember you, probably, like you said, 6 months ago, popping up on Instagram and every single post is going well. So to have someone like you in Melbourne, man, it's a real pleasure.
Yep. It's been an interesting journey. 6 months ago, I'm still a nobody, but literally nobody online. And then I just started posting about the carnivore diet. And 6 months later, there's a few people that are following along. It's cool.
It's funny how you describe yourself as a nobody. Why do you say that?
Oh, well, I mean, compared to, I don't think you would show my face to someone in the public and they would be able to recognize me. But it's been interesting that occasionally we do get recognized out in public.
Do you compare yourself often?
All the time.
Why's that?
Of course. I just think that's human nature, right? I think we all compare ourselves, whether we should or not. That's another discussion. But of course, compare myself with others, and it could be a positive too. I think I look to a lot of people for inspiration and set my own goals based on what they're doing and what I like what they're doing and what I think I can contribute.
I do that often. Compare yourself, but you compare yourself to the best in the world. So when people say to me, oh, you're going so well, it's like, well, I'm nothing compared to the best in the world. Do you do that?
Absolutely. I think especially with my career, which is in the creative industry, there are some insanely talented creative artists, right? And so that is the level of standard that I want to get myself to. And to be competitive in that market, you do have to be that good too. And so it's managing that. I think probably most of the time it gets the better of me. I think there's a lot of perfectionism and things that I struggle with. But at the same time, it is driving me to be better. So it is something that you have to master to be able to harness it in the best way possible. But it does get the better of me.
Why is it a struggle?
Well, I think because you would just think badly about yourself. I always think about my own work and even what I post online. I just think it's not what I know it could be and know what it should be. I know there is I talk about this. So there's a gap, right, between your taste and your ability, right? So your taste is really, really high that you're like, I know what works. I know what looks good. I know what needs to be done. So that's your taste. But then your level of ability there's a gap. And constantly we're trying to close that gap and get close to that level of taste. But that gap is what gives us anxiety, comparison. It's what makes us struggle, keep us up at night because we just know what needs to be done, but we just aren't hitting that yet. But the thing is that your ability will grow and so does your taste. So it's like this never-ending battle. And so I struggle with it because I definitely compare myself with other people and I just think, man, I'm just not where I want to be. And this just sucks.
What will it take for you to get there?
I don't know. I think, like I was saying, I don't think you would ever will. I think even if you've reached the top, then you're the kind of person that is always striving to be better. Because that's the only way you can get to the top, right? I imagine. So, I don't think it would ever end. There will always be something you can work on.
With that in mind, what are you striving for then?
Well, look, I'm striving to be a better husband, a better make videos online that people want to watch. I want to be able to provide. So posting on social media and doing this whole thing has been very interesting, and I've been able to help a lot of people. And I want to be the person that they sort of want me to be or need me to be for them, to help them with their health. And I think I can't really even articulate what that is, but I'm still discovering like what can I contribute? How can I improve someone's life in this online environment? And so I'm guess I'm striving to be what they want me to be. And then when it comes to work, just improving my craft, workflows, presentation, all sorts of things. Yeah.
I resonate with you a lot on that point of comparison, and I do see there's obviously positives, but there's a number of negatives as well. So
Yeah.
I actually see that at the flip side. I think there's probably more positives. So I think the best in the world often compare themselves to people, and that strives them to do better. I struggle with it at the moment because I'm putting out like high quality content sometimes, and people think it's high quality, and I get a lot of feedback saying that it is. But in a way, it's sort of reaffirming how the bad side of it almost. It's like I look at this and I'm like, it could be so much better, and I struggle getting compliments. You're one of those people?
100%. Yeah, I don't know what to do with compliments sometimes.
How do you deal with them?
It's nice and I accept it, but there's something inside of my head. It's just like, yeah, but you don't know. Yeah, you don't really know.
Were you naturally curious at a young age?
Yeah, massively. Always curious about everything, questioned everything. Massive imagination.
What were you like as a kid?
I think I was maybe a little bit crazy. I think I was, I asked a lot of questions, had a lot of energy. I was outside a lot, playing with my friends in the street, struggled in school just because struggled to sit in a chair all day and learn. But I had a great childhood. It was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of freedom too, that's why I think I probably struggled with school, because there's not a lot of freedom.
What were the elements you were struggling with? You said sitting down and...
Concentration, just in general with just learning. I think, maths or English, or I really enjoyed writing, but it was I think it was just literally being able to sit still for 8 hours a day or however long school is. I really struggled just to concentrate every day. It seemed like every other kid around me seemed to have no problem with it. They could just sit down and do the work. But for me, I was imagining other things and wanted to do other things with my time.
Did you think that's where the comparison started?
Probably, yeah. I think everyone seemed to be able to easily get, B's and A's, and I would have to work hard to get to that same level.
Yeah. Yeah, I resonate with that a lot as well. Really struggle to sit down and focus at school. But that whole point of that watching the mind wander and being curious, like I struggle to fit in with others as well. I don't know if you
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I struggled to fit in with other kids because you're different. And yeah, that whole, I think that in a way has caused me to do something like what I've done as a way to almost prove that I am capable, if you know what I mean. Because there were people that doubted me at a young age. So to do something like this, it's like, well, I am capable of doing it. And I haven't really gone back and assessed the underlying reasons as to why I've done what I've done. But I basically sacrificed 2 years of my life to be sitting with you right now. And I'm not complaining, but there has to be a reason why something like that's happened. So I don't know if you resonate with anything I've said there.
Yeah, absolutely. I did feel different from everybody. I just felt like I had a different humor. I had different aspirations. But in a very early age, so in school, I discovered video editing and creating videos. And then I had a skill that was under my belt that nobody else could do. And that actually gave me a sense of a place in the world. And then I was making videos just out of pure passion for the school. And everyone loved the videos. And it felt like it gave me... Yeah, it did give me a place in the world, and I just have always stuck with that from then on. It's been my career, and then the school ended up employing me to do their videos and everything like that, and I think that gave me purpose and a fit within the world. Like, okay, I have something to contribute, that I have a skill that people want.
That's how you met your wife, isn't it?
It is. It is. So I was making a video on the life of international people in Australia, and I was just looking for anyone from overseas. And a friend just gave me her number. I had never met her before. I said, come on in, let's do an interview. And my interviews were usually like, we would get quite personal. And because I wanted to tell like a real story. What is it like for an international person moving across the world, on the other side of the world, no friends, doesn't know anybody, barely knows the language? What is that experience like for someone? What drives them to? It's very fascinating. Anyway, so I was the one doing the interview, and obviously she was very attractive, and like I was like, finding out a lot of information, and then we just kept running into each other after that. But yeah, I did find my wife through video. Yeah,
it's amazing, man. What is it that you get out of that whole editing? And is it almost like because I get it as well, because you go into like your own little world. And it's almost an extension of something that you can't put into words.
I feel like it's a way that I can communicate with people.
Yeah.
So through any sort of video, and like my job is making like usually ads for companies, right? It's like not the most exciting, flashy thing in the world, but I'm still communicating something, and I think that I really enjoy that. And I love the projects where it is a little bit deeper and it's emotional, and you can use music and visuals and you tell a story, and it's people feel something because of something that you've crafted, and it takes a lot of refinement, a lot of thinking, and then but the end result is that someone's like, oh, I really enjoyed that video. It's like, that means so much to me.
You said in a video the other day that you were diagnosed with ADHD at 15. You also said in that video it's not something you talk about too often. Why is that?
Well, so at 15 I was diagnosed with ADD, so there is a slight difference. So ADHD stands for attention deficit hyperactive disorder. I didn't have the hyperactive by the doctor. But I did have the attention deficit. So basically, struggled to concentrate in school and all sorts of things. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions around what ADD is, and people probably just assume it's laziness. Oh, like, what do you mean you can't just do this task because it's not engaging enough for you? But why don't you just sit down and do it? Like, they just can't comprehend, like, oh, it's just a discipline thing. And yeah, it is a discipline thing, but that's what we struggle with, is to get our mind disciplined to do it. Like, we're just focusing on other things and pretty lights that we see, or the next shiny object. We're just like constantly distracted. And that is something that I've had to work on in myself. I never wanted it to be an excuse, because I did take medication for it, right? So I was 15. Doctor prescribed dexamphetamines, so basically speed, and it works. Like, as soon as I started taking the medication, I started getting straight A's in maths and everything, which I would struggle with. I was able to focus, but the problem is you can't turn it off with the medication. You were just like, man, like you were just like, you need to be working on something, and if you're not working on something, then you are frustrated. That's why you hear stories of people like, oh yeah, I took Adderall and then I ended up counting the grass at the front lawn, because you just have to do something, and it can be very intense. And then when the drugs wear off or you don't take it, you're absolutely useless. You're a zombie. You can't motivate yourself to do the most simple of tasks. And so at a young age, I decided I need to learn how to do this without medication. And
it's fascinating you had that foresight.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm assuming someone at that age at 15 that is perhaps seeking clarity or something along those lines, and to have someone who's older than them tell them to do something and for you to think otherwise. There's something to that as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I'm glad I did, because I think it was just because I was so useless without it. And I didn't like the idea of being dependent on something other than myself. And so I really tried hard. And that's why I don't talk about it, is because I don't want to be treated any different. I want to, maybe it's also I just want to fit in. So maybe there's a little bit of embarrassment about it too. People, I don't know, when I say I have ADD, I don't know what people think of that in their mind. They might think, like I said, it's not true.
I think there's a lot of people are probably throwing it out at the moment with no real consideration. I resonate with what you said before about I'm not sure what it is, but when I said to my dad the other day, I don't know what the hardest thing was. It was the 2 weeks before actually leaving my job, because I was obviously not where I wanted to be. And the 2 weeks after, in the probation or whatever, what is it? The notice period, where I was doing nothing. I said to Dad, I actually don't know what's harder, because beforehand I was struggling, and then in the between period where you're doing nothing, you're still struggling.
You're in limbo.
Yeah.
And
that's when I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for this. And that was the longest 2 weeks of my life, because I was doing nothing. I was sitting in the office, no purpose, no nothing.
But it would have been exciting, right?
It's exciting, but it didn't feel like it was going to end.
Wow.
Like, honestly, because I was sitting in an office from 8 or 8:30 till 5 with nothing but an external thought that I was thinking about. You know?
Well, I remember when I've quit jobs, that limbo time, I'm just like, get me out of here. You just want to go, right? You just want to quit and then never show up. But you do have to do this transition period.
Yeah.
And that's difficult. Yeah.
Did you feel different? Not different, but like when you were on that medication, was it something that made you feel different at that age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was like super productive whenever I take the medication. And even like whatever I would latch myself onto, it was like that job had to be done. And that could be even video games.
Yeah.
So I would take it like when I said I was a zombie when I wasn't taking the medication, it was like I couldn't even play video games because it felt like there was no purpose behind it. I wasn't being productive. I wasn't achieving something. It's very intense. And I guess it is basically. That's what like speed's made out of. So imagine giving speed to a 15-year-old.
I looked at your Instagram and you're a pretty well-traveled individual. But out of everything that I saw done, it was that 2014 trip to Papua New Guinea that I thought was perhaps the most impactful on you. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so Papua New Guinea has a big space in my heart. I have some family history that goes back to my grandfather.
I saw that article.
Yeah, so he was one of the first missionaries over to Papua New Guinea, and he went there when they were tribal. There was cannibalism. The tribes were at war with each other, very dangerous. Most people he encountered was the first time they've ever seen a white man before. He went in there, he lived there. And my dad grew up there as well, and then went to boarding school in Australia while my grandfather lived there, built farms, built schools, brought medicine, taught them agriculture, all sorts of stuff, basically like improving their well-being like massively. But then my grandfather got too old. So he would be like maybe 110 or 120 if he was still alive today. So this was a long time ago.
If you said he was still alive, I'd be like,
he lived to like 90 something, like 96 or something.
Yeah. You'll be at 120, I reckon. Easy. Yeah.
And so there's just crazy stories of like him being in Papua New Guinea and like a cow has fallen on him and his ribs are crushed, but there's no hospitals and all sorts of stuff. And so he got too old. he left, and then unfortunately they have no contact with the rest of the world. This is like deep in the jungles of Papua New Guinea. Very, very remote. And then my father recently went back. I was like 2009 maybe. He went back for the first time, reconnected, and established a connection again. And then me and my family have been going back ever since. So my father would probably go maybe every year. And I've been maybe 5 times. But particularly in 2014, I went for, it was a long time. I went for like an entire month or something, just living with the people. And it is the most life-changing experience you could ever do. Like talking about appreciating what we have and what we are blessed with in where we're born in a Western country, you experience it for real. And you realize they're just so happy. They're just, they're fulfilled. They're so appreciative that that someone in the world knows that they exist. And, we'll bring football jerseys with us, and they love NRL. And so I would bring my footy from just playing myself, my own footy local team jersey. And like I would give that, and that was like a prized possession for them. Just my ordinary local team jersey. These things are just like precious to them. And it just makes you appreciate how much we have. And then even also being disconnected, like you got no internet, no phone, nothing. And that's just awesome. And just get to talk to people. I'm sitting in a hut with them and we're having conversations. And yeah, you feel like tribal. It's like something that we don't experience in this. Yeah.
Are you good at doing that now? Switching off?
Oh, yeah, I think I'm a little too good at switching off.
Really?
Yeah. I think like I love to switch off. Sometimes when I'm stressed, it's obviously a little bit difficult, but yeah, I don't have a problem switching off. I watch TV and I'm good.
Today I showed my new friend John how we charge our phone and batteries. This nifty device converts heat from phyto energy and outputs power via USB. Personally, I think it's just magic. John agrees. That's a post you wrote.
We had this, I'm guessing it sounds like it's from the device that we had that you would light a fire and it would charge your phone.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was magic. And then, you're constantly surrounded by people when you're there too. So I would be like wanting to charge my phone so I could take photos, and I'd be like lighting a fire, and then I would have a crowd of people around helping me build this fire to charge my phone, and they're just like so fascinated. And
what do you think that trip and every consequent trip has taught you about life?
I think it's still, man, it teaches me all the time. I think when I think about, I think it's also almost like a blast to the past about who we are as humans. I think when you see people that live a completely different life, you can see the similarities and what you have in common, but community and having a tribe of people around you is so important, and something that I think about a lot from being over there is that all their huts, right, they're all positioned around together. Actually, so they have their family huts, and then they call it a long hut, and it's in the middle of all these huts, and that's where all the men sleep. They sleep away from the women and children because they deal with the family. But they're all the families are all around, and they all come together, and they're always spending time together, and kids are being looked after by other parents, and they're all playing together or working together. It's so important for their survival. And I think then you come here and you don't even know your neighbor's name, let alone are trying to build a community together. I mean, we have community online, but it's kind of different too. So I think it's a lesson is like, hey, you should know the people around you. We should know our local community. So that's a challenge for me, but also just being appreciative of what we have, what we've got. We have a lot.
I think you said, I'll never moan about walking from the couch to the fridge for a drink of water again.
Well, I probably do still moan about that.
Yeah.
So that's great advice that I should listen to.
Of course.
But it is, I think when you see kids having to walk barefoot to go to school, and sometimes, it would take like 4 or 5 hours.
I think you said it was half an hour to get to the falls to get the water, I think.
Yeah. Even that. To get for a fresh spring, you have to walk. It took us 30 minutes. I'm sure for other people it takes a lot longer, all sorts of things and they don't do it with a complaint.
I remember a quote you said, I think I wrote it down. It was like 534 weeks ago, and it said, "We're not built to be alone." And I guess that's a representative of what you just said.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to summarize it.
Not built to be alone. I mean, how do you, because I remember Sarah said that you're in like the build phase at the moment though, of what you're creating, I guess.
Yeah. How
do you balance that?
Well, it's very interesting because I think at this point in my time, we are in a build phase where we are working flat out with just career. Like I'm running my own business, but also doing this social media thing. And to do that, you have to sacrifice hanging out with people, and you do end up being alone. But I think there are seasons as well. I think that's important, that there are seasons where you are alone, even though maybe that's what you're sacrificing, I guess. You can't achieve anything without some sort of sacrifice. And so at the moment we're probably sacrificing a lot of FaceTime with friends and family. But we are building a life that we dream of. And also, even for people in Papua New Guinea, like I'm devastated that I haven't been able to go back ever since COVID happened, but we're building a life, and that will always be like something that I want to go back to, contribute to, be able to help them in any way they can. But we have to build our family first as well.
It sounds like you've got a desire, I guess, and that sort of is represented in the content that you do to help others. Do you know, or you figured out where that's come from? Well,
I don't know. It could be to do with my faith. I believe that Jesus came, and his main message was, if you could summarize it, was like, love God, but love people. And I think they're the words that I live by, is that I think technically it's the second most important, but it's very, very important, is to love the people around you. And I think that is the meaning of life, is to do those two things. I think when you take care of the people around you, you'll live a more fulfilled life. And that goes for work too. Like your work should be in service of other people. That's why they pay you. You know, it's a fair trade. But if you do it with the attitude of serving them, then you're probably going to do a good job for them.
Would you consider yourself a perfectionist?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Even though, yes, it's, in my own mind, I'm thinking, well, obviously my work's not perfect, but that's the perfectionism talking, like I know it's not perfect, but I do strive for perfect. Yeah.
Is that hard sometimes? Because I remember last year there was a caption that I did, and sorry, it was a caption in a video, and it was with a podcast guest, and this was back when I was posting my reels on TikTok, on both. I'll do the steak and the podcast reels on the one platform, and every single podcast I did would get like 500 views. Like it would tank. And I did a subtitle of a video, and I called my video editor, the guy in the Philippines, and I called him like 6 or 7 times because I noticed a spelling error just before I was about to post it. the bad thing was the good thing was, I guess, was that the guest was pretty high profile and he had scheduled in a time for it to be accepted, the collaboration and stuff. And the guy just wouldn't pick up the phone. So there was a minor spelling error. And it was like where we are, but it was like that. It was like that simple. I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I posted it and was the only one on my other old page to get over 100,000 views.
That's always the case.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you notice that as well? You like, God damn, I wish I wasn't like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Honestly, my whole Instagram right now is that feeling.
Really?
I really struggle with what I'm posting because I'm a videographer. I should be doing better. But the whole thing, I started this, and this is a good topic because the whole reason why this came about is because I had 0 followers. I had 0 expectations. I just posted whatever, and it was so freeing. It was so nice. It was just like, I don't care. I was like, I'm getting like 5 views. Like, and that was like the best stage because no expectations. And then it's just started gaining traction. And then, now I'm at a point where I'm like, man, I should be, have high quality, better lighting, whatever, just better storytelling. Better. But it's not. So I just think my content at the moment is, it needs a lot of work.
I think it's funny you say that because I started like that as well. If you told me 2 years ago when I started this thing that it'd be my full-time thing now, I would have thought you were crazy. And I think that's the beauty of it though, honestly. Like I look back on the content that I do. Like someone called me yesterday. Someone actually ordered my beef tallow last night at 7:30 p.m. and I called him on the spot. I don't know why. I was exhausted. I was so tired, but sometimes I call people and thank them just for ordering. And he said he saw a video on YouTube and I was like, thank God YouTube's working. Because I don't know, I've never had anyone order or say they've ordered from YouTube. And he said, how do you sous vide a steak? And then I typed in on YouTube, steak lad, how to sous vide, and I found my video, sent it to him, but it hurt. So I looked at it and I was like, this is like my old stuff. But then I look at that stuff and I'm like, that's got me to where I am now. So that reframe has sort of been a good one. But at the same time, looking back on all that sort of stuff and perhaps acknowledging that that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know if you feel that at all. Going back and looking at your old stuff. And to be honest, man, like, what was it, November 29th, I think it was, you posted your first video. Like the difference between that compared to now is crazy. You know, so that might be a good way for you to deal with any feeling like that.
Absolutely. I think I wouldn't have been here. And I think, so the problem with perfectionism is that because nothing's good enough, you never will produce anything. And that was what's happening to me. I really struggled to post about my work. And my personal Instagram sort of became my work portfolio, but nothing was ever good enough. And it was very, very hard for me to get something to a point where it was like good enough for my portfolio. And so no content went up. So therefore no one knows about my business. Therefore it does stifle growth. It's not a good thing. Like this perfectionism.
So you stopped posting because I noticed that. I noticed that from, it's basically as soon as you had Instagram till about 2022, mid 2022, you were like regularly posting about your personal life. Like there is a really good diary there. You talk about making a diary, like that is a diary of your teenage life. From 2014, there was like regular posting up until 2022. But then there's like a gap. What happened during that gap?
I think I go through periods of, especially around 2014, I was doing a lot of really interesting travel videography and I wanted to chase more of that kind of work. So I was posting about it a lot. But then I guess different priorities. My health was going down the drain around 2022, so I probably just wasn't posting as much. And probably when I sort of was like, actually, to be honest, I didn't even like posting on social media. Like, we would go out, do something fun, me and my wife, and she would post all about it. And she was like, "Do you want to reshare?" I was like, "Nah, I don't want to post about my life."
Why do you think that was?
I'm a very private person. And so this whole experience and sharing my journey online has been a very big stretch for me to be able to talk about. Even doing this podcast is really big for me. I don't really spend much time talking about myself. I think if we were mates and we'd be catching up, I would probably spend most of the time just hearing about your story. I'm a very naturally curious person, so I'd much rather hear about you than me talk about myself.
Why do you think that is?
Probably just low self-esteem is the wrong word, but it's similar. Kind of just, I don't think much of myself.
Really? Still?
Yeah. I think I'm fighting. I feel like I'm fighting for my place in this world. Like I have to prove myself.
I look at your wife's content and all of it seems to just represent how much of a caring and kind person you are. Do you look at all that stuff and think, well, that's clearly not the case?
Well, I'm pretty caring about my wife, so
yeah, of course.
I wouldn't say so. Yeah.
Do you think she would think the same thing that you think?
I'm getting a bit confused. She thinks that I...
So you said you doubt yourself and you question and...
Yeah.
Do you think she would see that in you?
Like she would... Oh, yeah. I think she struggles with that because she sees what I can do and she's just like, man, like you can do anything. And that's what I love about it is that she's always encouraging me and pushing me to keep putting myself out there, know that... I can achieve things and just always an encouragement. And I think that's why I married her, like pretty much the year after I met her, is that I just loved being around her because she would make me into a better man.
What do you think it'll take for you to not have that thought? Or do you think it'll always be there?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like my ADD. It's kind of like always, you just have to learn to manage it and learn to, you push through regardless. There's a story in the Bible with a guy called Paul and he had a thorn in his side and you kind of can read that and like it caused him a lot of pain. It's like, why wouldn't God just get rid of that? But I think it's a representation of like, we all have something that is just a thorn in our side and life isn't so easy that you can get rid of those things, but you can, it's like courage in the face of danger. It's you're still going to be scared. The fear never leaves, but you can push through. And so I struggle with perfectionism and not putting myself out there, but I'm here. And I love pushing myself so that, it just gets quieter.
If your page gets to a point where it grows way bigger than what it is now, will that be a challenge for you then?
I do think about that a lot. I do think like, wow, the life of fame. Well, imagine being famous. How would I deal with that? But I think I've already sort of come to terms with that, and I'm ready to push myself to be open enough that could be a possibility and I'll be okay with it. I think this is a stage of my life and I like to think of seasons. And I think this is the season where I learn to be open, express myself and talk about myself.
It's funny. I spoke with someone yesterday who said that when he was 20, he thought that money and fame would make him feel like a better person. And at 35, he's got the complete opposite view. He's like, I'm just I just like myself. I just like my own thing. And when people recognize me, I like it, but it doesn't fill my cup like I thought it would. But I think that what you're doing and what I've potentially done as well. So my journey started from health as well. I don't think it feels like too much of an effort, and it almost feels like there's an underlying purpose behind it all, which makes it easier. So if it does result in people recognizing you for something that has changed your life, I mean, he's a real estate agent, so it's a bit different because people recognize him for money and objects and all that sort of stuff. But I think if you're being recognized for something that has truly changed your life, and as a result, you are changing others' lives, perhaps that's a different way of looking at it.
Absolutely. I've tried to pursue social media growth before, and that was more to do with my work. And I was teaching people video editing. And now that I'm doing it with health, I stumbled across it. But now that I'm doing it with health, it just feels like way better. I feel way more comfortable that I'm like, okay, I'm here to help people in some way. And even through my own story will help people. Like I know that mentally, but now it's putting it into practice. It's not really about the fame or the fortunes. I think if you've gone through a season of life where you haven't had much, and you can still be happy, then I think then having more money, it's like, well, you instantly recognize that more money doesn't equal more happiness. Yeah.
I'm just laughing about stumbling on it. People ask how this thing started. I said I put a photo up of my steak.
Wow.
That's all it was.
Really?
Yeah.
But then what was what happened?
Took a photo, then I took a video, and then I have a YouTuber friend who's a great friend, and he's become a great friend, who went to school with me. He's got 850,000 subscribers, travels the world.
Wow.
Does what he wants. And that ticked off something in me. I was like, I could do that.
I think there's something about the freedom that would open up. And you're still bound to sort of, could be brand deals, or you're bound to your audience. You need to respect them and everything like that. But there is a freedom in that, and I think that's what this technology opens up, and that's what's most exciting. And I've loved watching other people, and just see. We've all followed someone that was quite small, and then you watch them blow up, and you just watch the world open up for them, and it's like, man, that's exciting. Like for your mate, even for you, even for me, that we've just had a taste of what that would be like.
So true.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That is what we're chasing. And that is why I quit my job, because I had no idea what that life was before I started it. And as soon as you get exposed to it, that's when you're like, and it's exposed at the smallest level. We're like you said before, minuscule in the scheme of things, but you get exposed to what a life. I'm not sure, even Carnivore Ray. If he actually went all in on what he did, he would be able to just about do whatever he wants.
Which I find it interesting. Like I follow him, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he still has a regular job.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
which I find crazy. I mean, maybe he just loves his job, but I'm like, what the heck? Like, bro, you could do whatever you wanted. Like,
that's what it is, though. Like, I've narrowed it down. It's like, why did you do this? Why did you do this? It's like, because you got exposed to a life that you never thought possible. Is that what you're chasing?
Yeah, absolutely.
The freedom.
Yeah, freedom. I've had jobs. I've been in and out of jobs. When you're working a 9-to-5 job, you don't have a lot of freedom. You have to ask permission to go on holidays, and screw that.
From just an idea written down on a napkin through to realizing it's actually a little bit crazy, to finally pulling it off. The lesson I've learned is to always believe in those crazy, audacious, God-given ideas, even if it's just a scribble on a napkin. Remember writing that?
Yep. I remember it was a big project, building some building a particular stage design with some LED screens. And it was just a small idea, like, oh, what do we, design these LED screens like cubes? And we have people standing on it. And then you draw it, you sketch it on a napkin, and you're like, so it would be cool if someone was standing in front of the cube. And so the cube was like way above their head. And then when you see the project through and then you see it like in real life and you realize, whoa, I am just building these giant cubes. Like, who gave me permission to be able to do this? This is insane. And it just, looked epic. But it just started as like an idea on a napkin. And I think many things that turn into these huge things like your podcast, your YouTubes, your social media all started with a single photo. It was just an idea or something. A little spark of inspiration, and trust that. I think everybody has them, but not everybody follows through with them.
It's a timing thing as well. Like, this is a sweet spot in our lives, I suspect. And I'm not sure what your plans are with children and everything, but you've probably got a window in your life now where the life that you desire is possible. And for some, and I say that because some people are probably, for lack of a better word, stuck. They can't do what we're able to do. And there's power in that.
Well, they can't do it to the level of what we do.
Yeah.
And though there have been times, I've tried this many times and went nowhere. When you failed.
Like other social media pages.
Yeah, like I wanted to teach people how to do videography and video editing.
Are you able to view your social media like that cube? Like you said, that is the building blocks almost.
Yeah. I guess the giant LED cubes was it was from idea to full creation in a shorter period of time. But this social media thing it wasn't a planned thing. So there was a lot of planning involved in that, but this wasn't planned.
When did you realize you were like, oh shit, I can make something of this?
Oh, it was like pretty early. Yeah. Like it was like the first week when I was just posting about it. It was like this. I've tried to build social medias before. The engagement I'm getting right now is unheard of. I need to grab this by two hands and run with it, or I'll let it pass. And so right place, right time. But I have tried many times before this, and it wasn't the right time and it wasn't the right place. And I'm so glad it didn't work out. And I guess you kind of hear a lot of people say things like that, but it makes sense when it works for you.
It's funny though. I'm assuming your first 1,000 followers felt better than 20,000.
My first 1,000 on the first time I've ever built a social media account felt the best. Yeah. And I think what that taught me was to recognize when things are working and when things aren't, because it's a big difference.
Yeah, I remember when I hit 1,000 on the first time. I've never hit 1,000 on any other platform. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then when you hit 35,000 or whatever it is now, it's coming up on 40, and I'll be like, just another day.
Yeah.
Just another day.
Very interesting, right? Very interesting that you really recognize the first 1,000, but then when you go from 41 to 42, it doesn't have the same effect. And that's why, social media is hard, because you can get caught up in the views and the follows and everything like that. And
do you get caught up in that?
A little bit, I think, because you put a lot of effort into what I'm producing, and then if it kind of falls flat, it sucks. But then I'm also like doing it every day, so it's like, oh, there's always tomorrow.
Do you post every day?
Try to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Consistency with busy periods in my life is something I'm really working hard on.
Yeah. I've started to, there was a day last year where I thought I'd lose all my followers if I didn't post a day. Yeah, I just had that. Yeah. I was just like, if I don't post, I'm going to lose everything.
It's kind of true though.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you can fade out into irrelevance so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's a bit scary. And I know, but if you aren't showing up, and people, they're busy lives. They've got a million other people to follow on social media.
It's down to you though. Yeah. If you're fading out and you're putting out shit content, like I've had a lot of people, like we had this chat where I just can't grow. So you need to do something different.
Yeah.
100%. And then you need to push. You need to constantly improve. I think that's the difference, man. I think I've just reflected that then. Like we're both the same. I posted a photo, then I did a video, and I made the video better every single week.
Yep.
That's all.
That's that tasteability.
Yeah.
So your ability will increase, and so your videos will become better. But I bet you that your expectations and your taste of a good video is also going up. So you're still pushing yourself, and it's like it's the carrot that just keeps evading you. But if you look back, you're like, oh, yeah, my videos have been getting better. Even for me, like I've been doing video for a very, very long time. And I'm still improving. Yeah.
How was your mental health before your desire to actually make a change?
I don't know if there was like a particular point in my life where I was like, I wanted to make a change. I think I'm always looking to do that. So it's hard for me to like think of a before and after. Yeah. I think that is a Christian belief as well. Is you're always looking to improve yourself. You can always be more righteous. Or
I mean, like from a health perspective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because before you said your health was bad in 2023, 2022. How were you throughout that period?
Yeah, so my health taking a downturn is difficult, I think, because I've generally been pretty healthy. You
looked pretty built it.
Yeah.
Papua New Guinea?
I was
rig shots?
exercising.
Yeah.
I felt great. And then I had some issues that weren't very easy to get rid of, and ended up getting surgery. So I had problems with my digestion, and we were on a vegan diet, and all the doctors were telling me to eat more fiber. I just need more fiber. And I was just having the most fiber heavy meals you could ever imagine, just lots of green vegetables. And then we stopped being vegan, but we're still having like a balanced diet. The problems still, I would get surgeries, but then the problems would still keep coming back. I'd be bleeding when I would go to the toilet. So it was pretty severe. I was in ER, getting multiple blood transfusions. Scary time, and sucks because I hate feeling useless, lying in a hospital bed or being in pain all day, every day, like severe pain. And to be able to find a solution for that, it's why I started talking about it.
How you feeling useless?
Can't shut up about it.
How you feeling useless? That's exactly what I said before about that in-between phase of when I left.
True.
You actually feel useless. You're not doing anything.
That's right.
It's in that in-between phase.
Yeah. I think there is something in all of us that we need to be doing something. I've found when we got married, we went overseas to Colombia. We were holidaying. Life is pretty cheap in Colombia, so we didn't have to work for a long period of time. And I think I discovered in that period of time that I need to be doing something. I think.
So you went over there to live?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It said, and then you said something about this is the longest period I've been away from family and stuff.
True.
Was that hard for you?
It was, because I was in a foreign country. Yeah. I didn't know anybody. I had no friends. All I had was Sada, my wife.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. But it was with her family and everything like that, and very different. I mean, shocking, right? You live on two sides of the globe. things going to be quite different. So it was a lot for me to have to live like that, be solely reliant on my wife for any sort of community, love, all of it. Trying to make friends, desperately trying to make friends. It was difficult in that period of time.
Is it hard for you to be alone?
No, yeah, sort of. It is like over a long period of time. But a couple of days, a few days, I'm fine. I don't have like a fear about it or anything. Yeah.
I saw you write in one of your first posts, it said, here's a list of things I'm trying to fix on the carnivore diet. I can't wait to start crossing them off. Eczema, brain fog, inflammation, sleep apnea, bloating, digestive issues, belly fat.
Yep. So I pretty much have ticked every single one of them off except for my eczema. So yeah, I used to be super bloated every day. Like at the end of the day, massive bloat. That just completely disappeared. Brain fog, that's probably to do more with my ADD and ADHD. And that has been the single best thing I've ever done for concentration and my ADD symptoms. I am on the edge of convinced that maybe ADD is some sort of food-related mental illness. Because if I had carnivore when I was in school, it would have made a huge difference. It would have been much better than the medication. I think I would have been able to concentrate more. I just would have had steady energy. Yeah, that has been the best discovery about all of this. So yes, it's helped me heal all my digestive stuff, but honestly, getting my brain sorted is way more important for me than all the other stuff.
It's got goosebumps. Because I resonate with that so much as well.
Right? You experience it like the first week. It was a couple of days. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is the best.
I had chronic asthma my whole life.
That's right.
Serotype. I don't know if you know Serotype.
Oh, no.
So there's Ventolin and then there's Serotype, which is a steroid that is essentially a preventative. So you take it and you don't have to take Serotype or Ventolin for 3 days or whatever. I would take that I took that for my whole life, really. And I could not leave the house without a Ventolin. Crazy.
And what?
Gone.
So
gone.
Just by eating meat?
Yep. No asthma anymore.
What the heck?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's nuts.
I don't know what. I think it just goes to show we're eating the wrong stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically my best mate's dad is a GP. And I told him, this is when it was at its worst. And I had the same issues as you with the bloat and everything and just you just feel bad about yourself, honestly. And I told him, I said, whenever I eat bad food, my asthma gets really bad. And he's like, nah, that's not true.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
that sounds like, they're just unrelated stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
So that desire for change, you've always got that desire. Like there's always something else. I think that curiosity. And then I think with what you're doing now, that's what I mean. You talk about the purpose. Like it's different. It's different to anything you've done before. You're teaching people how to actually change their life.
Showing them the tools, like, hey, give this a go. If you're struggling with something, like it's worth a shot. I know it's not for everybody. Like it is very, very restrictive. And I think the most people that end up on the carnivore diet are people that are struggling with something and they want healing from that. And they're probably the ones that stick with it rather than the ones that just kind of want to lose a few pounds. But yeah, I love talking about it. I love helping other people discover that, and just hearing their stories and stuff is just makes all the effort worth it. And that's why I am trying to be the person that the people online, the world, the community needs me to be. I have a place and I'm finding that wherever that is. Yeah.
Is that essentially implying that you'd be a different version of yourself? Is that what you're saying? Are you still the same person? Are you framing that in a way that suits your audience, or are you still trying to be yourself?
I need to be radically myself.
Yeah.
Because there's something that I can offer, and there's something in my story that people can learn from. And this is where I'm pushing myself, because I usually shield that. I usually keep that to myself.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when you're on social media, because you learn that people are drawn to when you actually are a bit more vulnerable. And because that's what I'm connected to with the people I like to watch online, is like, because they think about life like this, and I also think about life like that, and I love to listen to them because it helps me. So I know that I need to be that for other people. Yeah,
I find it interesting, that whole. I know we've spoken about it a lot before, like the whole looking at other people though. Like the more that I look at, it's like the more that I want to do. Which I think is power. There's power in that, I think. How does it feel doing what you're doing with someone by your side?
My wife? It's the best. Oh, she keeps me organized. She recently got made redundant on her job like a year ago. And and I was obviously running a business, and so she could either get a job or she could sort of help run the business. And it's become our business. It's become our thing. Now this social media is our project together. She features a lot in it, and I think our community likes to see her more than me.
Might need to interview her next.
Yeah. And it's been awesome to do it with her, and she's always been my encourager and keeps me on track, keeps me focused, something that someone with ADD needs.
So you reckon the mental focus and everything, that's been the main thing for you?
Hands down, 100%.
Yeah.
That is, I can deal with pain, but not being able to do what I want to do, not being able to achieve what I want to achieve, is probably more painful than actually going to hospital and suffering with.
I was going to say, what do you mean? What do you mean by you can deal with pain? In the form of what?
Of physical pain.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. Okay. You can handle physical pain. You can just kind of grunt your way through it, whatever. And great. If that can go away, amazing.
Yeah.
But getting your mind in line with what you want to do is much more powerful for me. Yeah, because then if I am in a little bit of a pain, well, that's okay. My mind can push through that. It's interesting. It's getting quite deep, but I put way more emphasis on making sure my mind's right. Yeah.
What's stopping you from taking it to that next level then?
Me being open and vulnerable and sharing about my life. I'm still not doing it enough on my social media. I really want people to get to know me. And even maybe as a guy, in relationships, you need to be able to be open and vulnerable with your wife. And that's probably something that people struggle with. Now I need to do that with thousands of people online that I don't know. And also the people that I do know, I think if they follow my social media, they're probably discovering for the first time, even close friends, that I even have ADD. Because I'm quite reserved. I don't talk about myself a lot. I love talking about ideas. I love talking about concepts and what's happening in the world and other people, but not myself.
If there's something you haven't shared today about yourself that you'd want your audience to know, what would it be?
Man, I have been talking a lot about myself that
you haven't.
I would love to,
That you haven't shared.
That I haven't shared. I probably, if family and stuff are watching this, they'll probably be discovering a lot about me.
Really?
So this is it.
Really?
Yeah, everything that I'm saying.
Really?
Yeah.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah, well, it's important.
What's brought with it the desire to actually do that?
I think that's because I recognize that's the ceiling I need to break through to be able to get to where I want to go. with that freedom. I think there's also a freedom in that too, that being open and just being vulnerable, I think there is a freedom in that. And yes, that means you're opening yourself to get hurt. And it means that attacks can be more targeted. I think that's probably something maybe I'm a little bit afraid of, is that they'll have ammunition to throw at you, you know?
It's hard to think in a world where people would attack you for just being yourself, though.
Oh, I can imagine that world.
Really?
Yeah. I think people think ADD
Do you
is
get much
nonsense.
hate? Do you get much
Obviously, sorry?
Do you get much hate?
Oh, yeah, nothing that really affects me.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think people think the way that I eat is crazy, and I can agree. So it's like, it doesn't bother me, but yeah. And I think the more I do, I think naturally people would be opposed to the way maybe I think about the world. Even the fact that I'm a Christian, there's many parts of the world that are directly opposed to what I believe. Many people don't like, they have their pre-ideas of what that means, and they might think that I'm judging them or whatever. But so yeah, I can imagine a world where I could get attacked for just being myself.
When you strip it back, and I know we probably have touched on it, but why do you think it is challenging for you to talk about yourself?
I think it is like that I'm giving ammunition for people to be able to criticize me on a level that is true.
Trying to strip that back. It's deep.
I think if I can hide myself in ambiguity, then the attacks are like, yeah, you don't know me. You know? You don't really know me. And I don't think everyone will truly know. Maybe probably only my wife will probably really, truly, and that's with everybody. But I think there will be an element of truth.
Do you reckon she's learning something about you today?
I think she's learning a lot. Yeah, I think she would be. I think I think she would love to be in your chair right now.
Really?
And asking me questions.
She's pretty close. She's pretty close. I think I saw that on the 26th of May in 2018, you posted your first photo together on Instagram. And then you were engaged on the 25th of Jan in 2019.
And then married.
Thought I was going out with the girls, but it turned out to be the most special day of my life. So that was her post. And then you were married on the 9th of March 2019. Can you remember that part of your life? I think you said, I found love in 2018. So it's spelled Sarah, but it's Sada.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. There we go. I was confused.
So roll the R in Spanish.
Yeah, because I heard you say that. And then it obviously in my English, it's Sarah.
Yes.
Obviously, yeah. Sada is the sweetest, most effortlessly pretty, caring and strong woman I've ever met. I'm looking forward to an incredibly significant 2019 with you. Remember writing that?
I don't remember writing it, but I remember feeling it. Yeah, I think, yeah, she was just absolutely gorgeous. But
what was the feeling?
I think the way she was just the perfect woman for me. Like I just could tell pretty early on in the relationship. That's why I married her a year after meeting her. Like I just knew she's the one for me. I was like, why waste time? Like I'm already going to be committed to this woman like no other person. Like, so we could date for 4 years, but I'm still going to be committed in all that 4 years. So I may as well marry her. And we were wanting to move overseas and stuff. So I was like, well, let's do it while we're here in Australia. And
what was it you saw in her?
She's very intelligent, which I really like. She was studying architecture. I think obviously she has 2 languages. So she's brave. She moved to Australia on her own when she was 18, never lived out of home, had everything taken care of her. And she moved here and she had to learn how to take care of herself, how to do the washing, how to get around without knowing language. in Australia, there is no Spanish speakers. No signs are in Spanish. It's not like America where they're a little bit more. There's a lot of Spanish and English mix, but in Australia, there's none. You have to learn English if you want to be able to survive in this country. And she did. She figured it out. I didn't know her in this period, but I respected that. And to study architecture, so that's a whole new language, like new words, complicated words that she would have had to learn. So I just had a lot of respect for her to do that. And she made me feel alive.
Mm-hmm. 1 year later, and I'm only more excited for the lifetime ahead of us. We've faced incredible challenges, but they've only brought us closer together. I'm actually not sure who wrote that one. I think it was.
We'd like to know when, because I'm like, bro, the challenges didn't stop.
Well, that was a year later. So I'm assuming it's a year after you got married.
Yeah. Well, it was challenging to live overseas together. Just learning how to co-live.
How long were you there for?
It was about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, just under.
Did you know when you went over that you were coming back?
Nah. Okay. I was open to move anywhere in the world.
Really?
Yeah. So I loved being overseas. I loved being in Colombia. We were open to living in America or whatever. But you really appreciate, you travel and you do appreciate where you're from and the opportunities that we have. And we're lucky enough that in Australia is one of the best countries in the world. And you shouldn't take it for granted.
Your wife also said it's been a pleasure seeing you grow and growing by your side. It's been a pleasure seeing you grow and growing by your side. Thank you for filling my life with joy, crazy adventures, thousands of laughs, unforgettable memories, and endless love. May each and every moment of your life be filled with the same joy and happiness you bring to others.
That's a really nice thing to say. Man. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I think I really love that Sada loves me too. And I don't know whether it's just her culture or whatever, or it's just her, but they're very affectionate and very open with how they feel. And that's really nice. I like that. I like that about her, that she can express her love for me. I wish I could do the same for her, but I'm still working on it. But I feel it. But
try and express it.
Yeah. Oh dear. Now you're really pushing me. I think. Look, it's everything I've been saying. I think she's I often look at her and be like, wow, like I'm so glad I married you, just because. It's often in like the most mundane, we're just doing ordinary things, but it's like I just love being around her. She just makes me feel I can just be myself, and we can just have fun together. Every relationship's different, and I would never try and tell someone what their relationship to look like, but ours is really fun. We spend a lot of time together. Like, she gets into the same things that I get into, and vice versa. Not everything, but even like we'll play like a video game together and she'll really get into it, and we'll find something that we both like. And that's very unique to us, because a lot of girls don't like playing video games, or they won't even give it a chance. I think they would if they gave it a chance, but she would give it a chance. And we're like, man, we can have fun together. We go for walks together, and we just chat, and we align with our values, which I think is very, very important too. So she is, we just have great conversations, great debates about what's happening in the world. And yeah, I trust her judgment. And I'll trust her with my kids when we have kids. Like, she's going to be a great mother. I already know that. And she's going to raise our kids well. And I'm going to agree with the way that she's going to raise them. These important things. I
think now's the time to tell people she's sitting about a meter away.
Yeah, I know. So, I guess I absolutely love her. And yeah, she's the best thing that's happened to me.
Yeah, that's a good way to end it, brother. That was a really good chat.
I bet Sada loves that ending.
No, it was really good, man. And like you said, that the fact we're so close, and I just listening to this chat, or when I say listening, I mean when I listen to this chat, I know that there will be lots of things that just because of I sort of get really hyper focused on the guests, so I sort of don't have too much time to absorb the underlying message of it all. But there's a lot of similarities between us. We're in a similar age. We're chasing a similar thing. So hopefully this isn't the last time we chat.
Oh, I don't think so.
Definitely not, man. Is there anything we haven't spoken about today that you'd want to touch on? I know it's been a pretty deep one for you, but if there's anything you'd like to finish it off with, now's the time.
I think I want to say that if you have an idea of what your life could be like, pursue it. Yeah, I think that has always driven me, and I see people that don't dream about their own life, and I would much rather be the one that dreams about a better life and does everything they can in their own power to be able to achieve that for themselves.
I saw Dana White say the other day, he said, if you effing hate getting up and going to work, he's like, get the F out of there. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Because you don't fucking belong there.
100%, man. Last thing I say is, like, I've had friends. So I've been in the creative industry for a very, very long time, and I have had close friends. I've had people that are better than me in terms of video and whatever their craft was, but they gave up. And I gave myself I was like, this is the only thing I can do. I gave myself no other options, but others have. And now I think they're stuck working jobs and they don't have that freedom. And I would just be like, don't give up. Like, if a place isn't delivering for you, like, yeah, you do need to quit your job. And yeah, you might not know how to pay rent, but that is the adventure of life. And it is an adventure. It's scary. And like life shouldn't just be comfortable.
I'm trying to reframe a lot of things that happen in my life right now that are negatives into the positive or the story that I will one day tell.
Well, I think you would do it naturally, right? I mean, it's probably better to do it in the moment. Don't get me wrong, because
but it's hard to view a negative situation as a positive.
Oh, so hard.
You know what I mean? So when you were at your lowest, when you were going through your surgeries and everything, there is not a world that you would have thought that's a positive.
No, and I'm like, wow. I'm actually so glad that I went through that, because I have a story to tell, and it's like, oh, actually, that is interesting for people, and yeah, I've been through it. That's such a good point. That is such a good point. That you couldn't have told me in the moment, oh, this is going to be for your benefit.
Look at you now, mate, killing it. Thanks for your time today, mate. Been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been good.
So good.
The end.
So good. That was almost an hour and a half.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
That's so funny. You always hear podcasts. Oh,
yeah.
The time flies.
Yeah, I know.
Time flies.
I know. How's that?
I'm not going to talk for an entire month now. There's so much talking.
You like it?
Yeah, that was really good. Really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man, I rocked you.
That's nice. It was nice. It's just nice.
It's good talking about yourself, man. I've had so many people that come on and they don't like talking about themselves, and then they do that and they're like, "Whew, how good is that?"
Yeah, when we have our sessions, you're just like, okay, enough.
Yeah.
I do think like having, I think it's also like people don't really ask these questions.
Yeah.